I will first introduce myself. I'm Shilpa Madam. I've been teaching for standard 11 and 12 for last 23 years. Mainly, I'm dealing with state board as far as paper checking or working as external examiner or board exams, all that is concerned. Uh, and simultaneously, I'm also teaching NCERT syllabus and helping students prepare for their boards as well as various biology related entrance exams. Uh, so, very warm welcome to all of you after doing your 10th standard. And I'm sure you have worked very hard last year and you have scored very good marks in 10th, and then by choice, you have opted for this science stream. Am I correct? सब लोग अपने choice से आए. सिर्फ choice से ही करना चाहिए education because this is the thing you will be doing till the end of your life. So when you are going to pursue certain thing for a very, very long time, it has to be by choice and not by force. मतलब पेरेंट्स में या किसी के प्रेशर की वजह से आप अगर एजुकेशन कर रहे हो then that's not a right thing. You should be in a position to enjoy your work, whatever you are studying, work, enjoy work. Last two girls over there. If you are there here in the class, you have to be attentive. Any nonsense in my class will not be tolerated. Now here, obviously, when you have chosen certain subjects in 11th and 12th, definitely it must be with some thought. कि आपको आगे क्या करना है after 12th standard. उस हिसाब से आपने surely subject combination choose किया है. But I'm very happy to see a good number of students choosing biology because with maths and biology together, you have highest number of career options available after your 12th standard. So also just with PCB, also there are very good career opportunities available. And within the country and abroad, together, there are very, very good opportunities in the field of biology. So, with time, we will talk about what are the career options that are available, so that whichever you find interesting, suitable for you, you can start doing more research on it. You can start finding more information about that course and curriculum, and find out whether it is suitable or something else is, say, more suitable for your, say, aptitude, your nature. मैं टाइम टू टाइम आपको काफी सारे ऐसे एग्जांपल्स दूंगी, क्योंकि मेरे पास बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स है स्टूडेंट्स के कि उन्होंने क्या किया, क्या नहीं किया, व्हाट वाज सूटेबल, और कैसे फिर करियर बहुत फ्लरिश हुआ. So there are n number of opportunities for you. So that's why I'm very happy कि काफी सारे बच्चों ने अपने बायो लिया है. First thing is, in biology, in 11th and 12th, you will be studying about your own body. How does body function? What are the important organs? What is the impact of one organ malfunction on the other? And a lot of other things. Overall, you will come to know about what is good health, good diet, nutrition. And with all these, there are different careers associated. Matlab, with nutrition, you can become a nutritionist. You can become a dietitian. You can go into agriculture. You can go into biotechnology, microbiology. Under NEET also, there are n number of career options. Without NEET also, there are different career opportunities. So career opportunities काफी सारे हैं. Only thing is, आपके लिए suitable क्या है? With your nature, you will have to think about it. मतलब कोई बच्चा ब्लड देखने से पेंट आती, maybe medical is not the right career for that person. लेकिन फिर बायो से सिर्फ मेडिकल भी नहीं है, there are many other careers. तो बायो अच्छा लगता है, but not very comfortable with human body, surgeries and all those things. Then that student can choose something else. या कोई बच्चा, अभी मेरा ही एक स्टूडेंट था, his hands were not very steady, but he was very keen to go into medical field. फिर मैंने उसको सजेशन दिया कि आप सर्जन का करो, because your hands are not steady, but you can become a very good consultant doctor. या medicine करो, MD करो, and become a consultant doctor. Surgery no, that's not possible for you. So like this, you will have to find out your strength, and according to your strength, you can choose your career line or career option. So अभी food हम जो खाते हैं, technology, food preservation, these are some new careers. Forensic science is another upcoming branch. Bioinformatics है, अगर आप computers में अच्छे हैं and you have some knowledge of biology, maybe bioinformatics is a good career option. So time to time, in a group, individually, we can go on having discussions as far as which might be the right career. But for time being, from my end, a warm welcome to all of you as biology students in standard level. And I'm sure that you will all continue biology in 12th standard also, and choose a suitable career for yourself and flourish in your life. Okay, so with that note, let's begin. Now, in 11th as well as in 12th, you are going to handle two fronts at the same time. Meaning, very soon you will be associated with one of the colleges in Pune, correct? Now, a connection with that college will be for practical purpose. So you will be doing your practicals in that college, and that practical syllabus will be designed by board. Okay. So as per board curriculum, certain number of practicals will be conducted for in 11th as well as in 12th. Now this time, the big difference is you will be performing practicals in the lab. Okay, because I know that till 10th standard, there are very few practicals which are done by students, and most of the times it is demonstration. Am I right? So now, in 11th and 12th, whether it is physics, chemistry, or biology, practicals are to be done by students. Okay, because what we call in science side is practical handling. How do you handle instruments, equipments, how you use them? And there has to be a refined way, a proper way of handling those instruments and using those instruments whenever it is required. Okay, so I'll talk about biology as I am bio teacher. So in biology, you will be given opportunity to use a microscope because that's a very, very common instrument required in biology. Then you will be taught to prepare slides. I don't know, maybe in 10th standard, some of you must have prepared slides, fresh slides. If not, it's okay. In 11th standard, it will be taught how to prepare slides and how to observe that slide under a microscope, how to adjust the microscope, and then study that slide very well. Study different parts of that slide. Okay, because ultimately, whatever structure you're going to observe under the slide, the same you're going to study in theory. Are you getting this? So suppose now, since all of you are familiar with this name Spirogyra, it's an alga. So when you study that Spirogyra is an alga, it's a filamentous, unbranched structure. So all that is actually seen in the slide. Cells are rectangular, then chloroplast is a ribbon shape. All of that, which right now I'm describing, is all seen under the slide. Okay, so that's why good slide preparation is very important. And then adjusting the slide by yourself and observing slide. All these things are very, very important because this microscope is going to be required by you all the time when you pursue any career with biology. This is a very, very basic equipment or instrument used by bio students. And later, depending upon the requirements, some more sophisticated instrument will be introduced from time to time. Okay, so this is very important. Another thing is preparing a good slide. It's like a recipe. Okay, the more you practice, better is the outcome. Okay, so when you practice a number of times, finally, you will be able to prepare a very good slide because sometimes there is sectioning. Sometimes there are certain fresh mountings to be done. So for all that, practice is important. And once you develop that habit of doing lot of practice and in 11th and 12th, then automatically you develop lot of patience. बायोलॉजी में अच्छे लोग patience बहुत जरूरी है. Because everything will not happen as per your wish. सेल आपसे पूछ के बिहेव नहीं करे, सेल will behave differently. Actually, that's why research in biology becomes more difficult. Because each day, each time, each minute, cell will respond in a different way. कल जो response था वो आज मिलेगा, no assurance. So that's why the standardization in biology experiments is more challenging than non-living systems. Living systems में इसलिए research थोड़ा सा lengthy हो जाता है. But of course, if anybody is interested in going into research field, here in India, we require some good people in the research field. Just one thing, I'll give you one example. When you visit a doctor prescribes certain medicine or doctor prescribes certain, say, treatment. तो क्या बेसिस पे ये ट्रीटमेंट दिया है डॉक्टर ने? On the basis of research. Somebody has done this research. Somebody has come up with this protocol or treatment method, and then that is prescribed or advised by doctor to certain patient. So medicine may be research, medical side may be research. So now you realize that there are a number of opportunities available. It's up to you to decide कि आप कौन से साइड में अच्छे हो, which is your strength or your strong area, and accordingly you can choose the suitable one. Okay, so that's it for today. Time being हम बात करते रहेंगे, and please feel free to approach me with your doubts, queries. Afterwards, institute will give you a proper timetable. So you will also come to which are the days I'm coming in, and I'll be available to solve your queries. So please feel free to ask your queries and doubts. Okay. A very important thing in biology is what you have to do is get your concepts clarified. Conceptual understanding is very important. Okay, because once the concept is well understood by you, you can elaborate it and solve your board question. And once the concept is clear, based on it, any other competitive exam question if asked, you will be in a position to answer it well. Okay, so conceptual understanding is very, very important. Another thing is, maybe from today itself, for me, any day when you start study is an auspicious day. Okay, very important day. कौन से दिन पे start करो पढ़ाई करना? Auspicious day है. Which means that every day when you decide to study is an important day in your career. Reading textbook, reading your notes on a regular basis will surely help a lot in your studies. This is for biology. Because every word which is given in your textbook or in notes is important. हर एक word पे question frame किया जा सकता है. That's why you have to repeat reading your textbook several times. So आप लोग क्या कर सकते हो? In your daily schedule, allot some time to read textbook maybe at the end of the day. Before you go to bed, you read 1 or 2 pages from your textbook. Another thing is scientifically it is proven that before going to bed, if you read something that is well printed on your brain, उसका memorization अच्छा हो जाता है anything that you study before going to bed, uska memory, I mean that gets converted into memory and that is well preserved in your brain. This is being scientifically proven. So every day, make a habit that you will read a couple of pages from your text. Okay. Then again, as we proceed, मैं थोड़े से simple tricks आपको बताऊंगी where you can do your self study. Self study is very important. Whatever you study here is not enough because it is the only teacher who is teaching you. Later on, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you have understood the concept and you are in a position to retrieve it. Computer जैसे कि जब याद करना है तब याद आ रहा है. You can remember it whenever it is required. That's very important. And then put that concept in your own words. Because when you are writing your code paper, there are going to be different types of questions you will be attempting. Because क्योंकि हमारे state board में कौन-कौन से question है, you have 1 mark questions, you have MCQs, you have answer in 1 sentence. Okay. Then you have 2 marks questions where you are expected to write 4 important points. Then you have 3 marks questions where you have to write 6 points in the answer. And you have 4 marks questions where 8 points in the answer are expected. Okay. For some students, 1 mark questions are easy to attempt, but maybe they find it difficult to write lengthy answers. So for all these things, right from the beginning, if you work in a systematic way, I'm sure your result will be very good. Okay, लेकिन systematic regular studies is a. Okay, so this is certain say basic things I just wanted to share with you. And now today we will start with the first topic from first unit, that is the living world. Okay, and let's try to have an interactive session, that is me only talking all the time and you are feeling sleepy. Instead, I'll be asking you some questions. Try to answer them. And in my class, there is no punishment for making mistakes. Okay? But try to answer the question. Got it? गलती हो गई होने दो, because with mistakes only people learn. Okay, so making mistakes is not a crime. Learn from your mistakes. Okay, so now we'll start with the first topic, living the world. And now let's first talk about the concept of diversity. Okay, so now can anybody explain what do you mean by diversity or what do you understand by diversity? And let it not be in a very scientific language. Let it be a very simple explanation. So, is there anyone who will try to explain concept of diversity? Diversity are all the different things around us. Okay, so I'll put it in a very simple words. Variety. Variety is diversity. Okay, so now let's understand this concept of diversity with respect to living world. So what type of diversity we find in our surroundings? We have tiny insects. Okay. There are small size worms in the soil. Then there are big size organisms. Maybe butterflies, bigger size insects. There are tiny birds, large size birds. Then very regularly seen animals as dogs, cats, around us. Then big size animals like camel, elephant. Okay, so as far as animals are concerned, this is the diversity. Now we have talked about this diversity where organisms are terrestrial, that is, they are found on land. Do we find animals in water? Yes. So habitat wise, there is diversity. There are animals in water, animals on land, and even on land, from place to place where climate is different, there is diversity of variety, right? So land, desert is a part of land. So in desert, you find set of animals which are different. A mountain is a part of land, correct? So in the mountainous region, you find different animals. On the coastal line, again, it's a land. Animals are different. Okay, so land or terrestrial habitat is also having a lot of variety. And in every different type of climate, organisms or animals that survive are different. Okay, so this is about animals. We also find diversity in plants. We find plants in water. We call them as aquatic plants. There are plants growing on land, that is terrestrial plants. Then we have very tiny plants like grasses, we call them herbs. Little big size are shrubs. Tall trees are there. Then some plants grow on other plants. We call them epiphytes. So just for support purpose, they are growing on other plants. There are certain plants, as far as nutrition is concerned, are parasitic, meaning they are unable to make their own food, and that's why they depend on other plants for food. So these are nutritionally different plants as parasitic plants. So there is lot of variety or diversity. Okay, so what you have studied or what you have understood now is among living organisms, there is diversity or variety. Okay, so every place will show different set of organisms. Okay, which will be unique to that place, right? Now, my next question to you all is, why do we require such a diversity? Okay. Anybody else would like to attempt? Yep, please love it. Okay. Anybody else would like to attempt? Okay, now in the nature, more is the diversity, better is the balance. Okay, I'm repeating the statement. More is the diversity, better is the balance. Meaning, what happens as a result of diversity? Organisms have multiple options and opportunities with diversity. Okay, we'll take a very simple example. Suppose there's a forest and there are lions in the forest. Now you all know that these are flesh-eating animals. So we will call them as carnivores or carnivorous animals. Okay, now what if tomorrow these lions decide that they will hunt only deers for food? After a while, maybe the situation is deer population in the forest is rapidly declining because lions are attacking only deers for food. Okay. So with deer population declining, this might have some dangerous impact on local environment. Maybe with no deers in that particular area, there is no animal to eat the plants, so there will be abundant growth of plants. After a while, when deer population is declining, lions are starving because lions are not getting enough food. Because till some time, with good number of deers, lot of food was available, but after certain time, situation may differ. So now lions are starving. That is also going to have impact on the lion population. So what has ultimately happened? The balance of ecosystem in that particular area is now affected with just one thing, that lions have eaten only deer as a food source. So then what is the better option? Let lions choose any other food also, whichever is available. Which means now lions also have options for food. So suppose if deers are not available, they may say, suppose hunt rabbits or any other animals, smaller size. So this is how overpopulation of one organism and a rapid decline of any other population, this will be avoided. Okay, so more options available, more diversity available is very, very useful or necessary to keep nature's balance. And that's why nature has created such a huge diversity of living organisms on this planet. Otherwise, we would have seen only one type of plants, only one type of animals on this planet. But that doesn't happen. Okay, so more diversity, good environmental balance or good ecological balance. That's the idea, or that's the purpose. Okay, so next year in 12th standard, when you're going to discuss a bit about ecology and things related to it, this part will be once again repeated. Okay, because that time you will be talking about food chain, food web, and all those concepts. So in the living world, the first concept is of diversity. So we have just talked about what is diversity. Today at this moment, we are knowing about around 1.7 to 1.8 million living organisms or species. Okay? So human beings so far have studied, identified this number of living organisms on Earth. But the fact is, fun fact, the same number of living organisms are still unidentified. Okay, so 1.7 million, 1.8 million is a big number, right? But we still don't know much about almost 1.8 million organisms at the moment. The reasons are, usually those organisms are very small in size. It's very difficult to study them. Their observations are difficult. Maybe the place where they live is not a place where humans can go and study them. So there are certain challenges because of it, because of those challenges. Studying those organisms today is a bit difficult. But again, maybe some of you, if you enter the field of research, all this part comes under taxonomy. So if you decide to pursue taxonomy, maybe then one of you can identify any unknown organism so far, identify it, give a name to it, which is nomenclature, so that the rest of the world will know that organism with the name assigned by you. Okay, because whoever identifies an unknown organism has a right to name the organism. Okay, and then the rest of the world will study that organism with the name which is given by the researcher. Okay, this is one rule in nomenclature. Okay, so this is one more area or one more field which is open to you all. Now, the next part we will be discussing is trying to differentiate between living and non-living. How do we differentiate living organisms from non-living objects or from non-living things? Okay, so now let's talk about certain properties or features of living organisms, which are the properties that are seen in both, and we'll also talk about certain features of organisms which are unique to living organisms and not exhibited or not seen in non-living. Okay, now the first feature we will discuss is growth. Okay, so first characteristic of living organisms is growth. Now, how would you explain this concept of growth? Again, fine if you explain it in a very simple language. I don't want scientific wording. What do you mean by growth?
Increasing by size of mass.
Correct? Increase by size or mass is correct. Now, in this, I will add one more word or one more term. Increase in dry weight of organism. Now I'll explain to you this concept. I know that this concept of dry weight is new for all. Now, let's compare a newborn baby with an adult human being. We find increase in the height, correct? Adult's height is more than baby's height. Agree, everybody? Then there is increase in the weight, body weight. Baby's body weight is much lesser than adults. So this is increase. Now, very, very important is in the growth in living organisms, this increase is permanent. So the word permanent or irreversible is very important. Why I tell you? In non-living world, suppose I have one bucket full of soil. I pour that soil on the ground and make a heap. Okay? ऐसे एक mountain जैसे मैंने soil का बनाया. Now I add one more bucket full of soil on that heap. I say the heap is growing. Got it, everybody? Now tell me, is heap growth and growth of human body, are they identical? No. Because this heap is reversible. Meaning, if I take out some soil from the heap, it becomes smaller once again. Okay? मतलब पहले बड़ा था. After some time, it has grown smaller. But in living organisms, growth is never reversible. मतलब today person is very tall and after some days height has decreased. This is never going to happen with living organisms. So growth is a permanent, irreversible change in body mass, weight, size, and even dry weight of the organism. Are you getting this? And then what is a dry weight? Dry weight meaning, now you imagine that all water from body is extracted or taken. Now there is no water in the body of the organism. Just imagine this, whether it is plant body or animal body. सारा पानी निकल गया. So after extracting water, the material which is left behind is dry weight. So this dry weight also increases with growth. So baby's dry weight will be definitely less than adult dry weight. Okay, so these permanent changes will take place in living organisms. We call it as growth. And when growth is reversible, sometimes there is positive growth, sometimes growth is reversing, then it is described as accretion. Accretion meaning if you put matter, if you add matter, there is positive growth. If you remove some matter, then growth becomes negative. Okay? So this accretion is a pattern of growth which may be seen in non-living things. But in living organisms, it is always permanent, irreversible change or increase in body size, weight, dry weight, etc. Are you getting this? So this is how you can compare growth between living and non-living. Now, next parameter we will discuss is metabolism. Any idea what is metabolism? You must have come across this word several times when you were in 9th and 10th standard. Yes. Okay. Now I'll just try to simplify this concept and I'll divide this concept into some sub terminologies which are not there in your portion, but you must know them. Now, metabolism is nothing but several reactions that occur inside the cell or inside an organism. Before that, let's take our example, human beings. We eat food when we are hungry, right? Now tell me what happens to the food that we eat. Yes, what happens to the food we eat? It gets digested, correct? The food gets digested by our digestive system. What do you mean by digestion? Yes, in anyone, instead of giving a chorus answer. Yes. Before that, something happens. Okay, correct. So what happens is, when food gets digested, which means that several digestive juices and enzymes act on the food, correct? Convert that complex food into simple compounds. Like you have eaten, say, suppose potato, which has a starch. That starch finally gets converted into glucose. This is digestion. And this is a chemical process. Okay, so starch gets converted into glucose by chemical reactions. Similarly, the fats we eat, proteins, everything gets digested and complex compounds are converted into simple compounds. This is digestion, and digested food is absorbed, correct? Then if you remember, somewhere in school, you must have come across one sentence that absorbed food gets assimilated. Assimilation. So can anybody be able to tell what is assimilation?
Mr. President.
Okay, so now the food we eat or the food which is digested is used by the body again. Now I'll tell you example of this starch. You have eaten potato in your meal. It got digested into glucose. Okay, body will use some part of glucose for your activities because our body needs energy. And to get that energy, the simplest thing is oxidized glucose to get energy. Okay, but not all glucose is utilized. Some is excess. What is done with that excess glucose? It is sent to liver. In the liver, that glucose is converted into glycogen with the help of hormone insulin. So insulin will open the gates of the liver cells. Glucose will enter liver cells, and inside liver cells, that glucose will be converted into glycogen. So our body is not storing starch. You have eaten plenty of starch. All that starch is not required by your body. But is your body storing starch? No. Your body is first converting starch into glucose and then converting glucose into glycogen, which is stored in your liver cells. So when it comes to storing sugar in animals, it will be glycogen that is formed. Are you getting this? So the form of the sugar to be stored in plants is usually starch, and in animals it is normally glycogen. So the forms are different. So now I'll tell you, conversion of starch into glucose is catabolism. Catabolism is breakdown. Break complex molecule. So break starch molecule and convert it into simple one, that is glucose. So one part of metabolism is catabolism, breakdown. So whenever digestion takes place, it's catabolism, it is breakdown process. And now same glucose, when is converted into glycogen, what is happening? Simple compound is getting converted into complex, that is glycogen. Anabolism. Anabolism is to construct, is to prepare. So from simple molecule, prepare a complex one is anabolism. So when synthesis takes place, anabolism, breakdown, catabolism, together metabolism. Understood? So in metabolism, there is anabolism and catabolism. Whichever is required by the body, that reaction will be done. So in plants, when plants prepare food by photosynthesis, what is photosynthesis? Is anabolic process, because plant is making food. Plant is manufacturing food. But on the other hand, when human beings are digesting food, it is catabolic reaction because there is breakdown. And why is this metabolism important? Because metabolism means millions of reactions in the body and millions of new compounds will be synthesized. And why are those compounds required? In order to maintain your body functioning, all those compounds are required. Those compounds can be proteins, they can be enzymes, hormones. So several things are required or chemicals are required by a cell or by a living organism. And that's why metabolism is a unique property of living organisms, which you will not see in non-living. There's no metabolism in non-living things. They're not going to eat food. They're not going to break down the food. Okay, whatever matter is there in that structure or in that thing, it will remain the same. Okay, so this is one more thing. Then another unique property we will discuss as the last thing for today. Irritability or consciousness. Again, a unique property of organisms. Now, how unique? I'll give you a very simple example. Just answer a couple of questions of mine. Now, all of you, you are ready at home to come to your coaching institute on one fine day. And you suddenly realize that there is heavy rains outside. What will be your reaction? Or what, how you will come to your coaching class without getting wet? Yes? Yeah, somebody will take umbrella. Somebody may wear a jacket or a rainy suit. Someone will try to come by car. N number of options are there without getting wet. Okay, so this was your reaction to heavy rains outside. Now, you are the same person. It's time for you to go to coaching class. And it's very hot, bright sunlight, very high temperature, unbearable heat. Will you still carry a raincoat? Or will you carry a sweater? Why? Because now the stimulus is different. When it was winter, you prefer to carry a sweater or a jacket. When it is rain, you are carrying umbrella or raincoat, but nothing is required when it is very hot. So the different thing is rain, winter or summer. So I call these things as stimulus. And that stimulus has forced you to respond in a different way. You are the same person, correct? Your action is the same, that is start from your place and reach your coaching institute. That's same activity. But in the three situations, you have responded differently, which means when your external environment has changed, you have responded differently. Are you getting this? This is consciousness or irritability. So every living organism, whether unicellular or multicellular, plant or animal, if surrounding changes, response of the individual differs. And no non-living thing can do or respond in this way. Okay, so this is another unique feature of living organisms that makes them different from. Okay, so these are some of the properties we have discussed today. Couple of more properties we'll discuss in the next session. Okay, but now just let me ask you, how was the session? Are you finding it interesting?
Of course, from next session, I'm going to write two things on the board. I'll ask you to copy certain things. But apart from that, I'll be also giving you some work to be done at home. And I'll be dealing with botany part, that is plant related topics which are there in your syllabus. Okay, so with more interaction, I'm sure you're going to find it interesting, easier. My objective is help you understand concepts, and once concepts are clearly understood, then it will be very easy for you to write answers or prepare for your exams. Okay, and of course, I also have discussion with your research sir. I also try to give you some practice of writing bold pattern books, not just the entrance exam based questions, but even questions which have a different pattern, where little different preparation is required. Okay, so I hope you have liked today's session. I hope you found it interesting and informative. And whenever you have doubts, queries, you are free to ask your doubts. Okay, so see you in the next session tomorrow.